Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Cracking the Cryptic. Last time we did puzzle number 1 of this domino sample pack here that has only 3 puzzles in it, sample dominoes puzzles. But we might as well do them since they're free. They're all from Prasanna Seshadri, which in puzzle number 1, the handwritten note was once again wrong. We've seen handwritten notes, not just from Prasanna, we've just seen the handwritten notes in general amongst the sample puzzles that often have mistakes in them. And yeah, it's just really unacceptable. Like, it's kind of crazy that you could say for almost any Sudoku game, there is a Sudoku game out there that should not be purchased. And yet, I really would not recommend Cracking the Cryptic in its current state because of the mistakes and them not double checking their hints, which absolutely need to be 100% accurate every single time. They need to speak from authority and they need to speak from correctness in their hints, always. And I also wouldn't recommend Sudoku Universe because Sudoku Universe, as a video game form of a Sudoku, the interface is just not particularly good enough. It's just not polished as well as Cracking the Cryptic's interface is, as far as what you can highlight and how you can pencil mark things. But of the two, if you just absolutely had to do Sudoku in a digital format, and that was the two options, I would have to say go with Sudoku Universe, not Cracking the Cryptic, because at the very least you're not getting hints per se in Sudoku Universe that could be wrong, and you're getting an infinite number of Sudoku puzzles that have been generated. Now those are just classic Sudokus where Cracking the Cryptic is giving you variants with, in this case, puzzle number 2 being a partial domino Sudoku. But what's the point of getting variants if potentially they're going to be way too hard, and the hints are going to be wrong? Like, there needs to be obviously a third option that can offer variant Sudokus, variations on Sudoku, but also have the hints correctly done, or just don't have hints but still has a pretty good interface to play Sudoku on a digital form factor to make it a better experience. Not just as good, but it's got to be better than what it would be to just solve the Sudoku puzzles on pen and paper. Now, in fairness, a pen and paper or a website that gave you Sudokus, which I would say either print or website are about on the same levels, because a website is not likely to have a lot of interactive features compared to what a video game could do. Those two options, particularly pen and paper, can be very expensive. If you're just buying Sudoku books every week, every month, and you're spending $5, $10 on a Sudoku book to get the puzzles to then write in the solutions, and then the next month you're spending another $5, you would just never have that consistent expense for a digital form. And obviously you wouldn't also be wasting paper and having to go to an actual store or have books delivered. Anyways, that's enough setup, I believe, for today. This was a pretty short puzzle at 84 minutes, and it actually was a pretty great puzzle outside of the hint, in that I was consistently making progress for at least 40 minutes of the 80 minutes. If not really all 80 minutes. I never really hit a speed bump. I made one mistake. It felt like what the experience of solving a Sudoku should always be. Unfortunately, every other Sudoku, pretty much, there may be a couple more that were like that. Every other Sudoku puzzle, though, we've done in Cracking the Cryptic have been 100+ minute slogs with lots of difficulty and way too complex puzzles, and we're going to get there with at least puzzle number 3 with 6 stars. Anyways, this is classic Sudoku. The digits 1 through 9 must appear in every row and every column and every box exactly once, and then it is a partial domino variant that says a white dot between two cells indicates that the two digits are consecutive. So if this was 2, this could be 3 or 4. A black dot between cells, which there are no black dots in this puzzle. Well, nope, they're the black dots. I almost overlooked 5 of them. Wow. Because 4 of them are on the line, and then there's no excuse for overlooking that one. 5 black dots means that the digits are double. So if this is 2, this could be 1 or 4. An X between cells, and this is where this is a domino variant and not a crop key. If it was just black and white dots, it would be called crop key. But the domino adds the X, indicating that the sum of the two digits with an X in between must equal 10, and a V is that the sum must sum to 5. So Roman numeral 5, Roman numeral 10. And it is a partial domino because not all possible dots, X's, and V's are given. Now, unlike almost all the other puzzles that we've done, we are starting with some numbers actually in the puzzle, which probably is necessary for kind of a small number of dots. So we could start with just some basics here, and I guess that's what we should do. We will take all the pairs of cells that have an X on them, and we will just mark all the combinations that could go in here. And this is going to be kind of wasteful because that would be every combination, because you can do 1 and you can do 9 to get to 10. You can go 2 and 8 to get to 10, and you can go 7 to 3 to get to 10, and you can go 4 and 6 to get to 10. The only possibility here is the not 5, because you can't do 5 and 5 to get to 10 in this form. If there happened to be an X in the corner, then I guess you could do a 5 and 5. So perhaps not that helpful of a move to do that. We can then take all the V's and do the same thing, and that will be slightly helpful because immediately we know if it sums to 5, it can't be 5 or bigger because the number would just be too big. So your options really are 1 and 4 or 2 and 3, and we'll just mark it that way to keep it nice and easy. Then I suppose we can do probably nothing with this because it could pretty much be any digit here. And we probably can't do anything with this because it could be pretty much any digit here. And same is probably true there, and there, and let's see if there's anything else. See, and I almost want to color in these spots, but it wouldn't mean anything to color it in. If there was just like a special way of labeling, don't look at these, or put these as low priority spots to focus on. What we can do, however, is go on this spot, and this spot, and we can eliminate some possibilities. Like this can't be 9 because it can't half to 4.5, nor can it double to 18. It can be 8 because it can half to 4, it can't be 7 because it can't half the 3.5 or double the 14. It can be 6 because it can half the 3. It can be 4 because it would half the 2 or double the 8. It can be 3 because it could double the 6. It can be 2 because it could double the 4 or half the 1. And it can be 1 so it can double to 1. So that gets the possibilities down a little bit. And I imagine then if this can't be 9 up here, then this can't be 1. It still could be a 2 and an 8. It can't be a 3 because we no longer have 7. It can be a 4 and 6. Can be a 6 and 4. Can be a 7 and 3. Can be an 8 and 2. And can be a 9 and 1. So that only eliminates a little bit as a possibility. So what we're going to almost certainly have to do is consider the numbers and the digits in the boxes, because there really isn't any other options. Like at the moment, this spot, this spot, this spot, this spot, this spot, here, here, and here are all very open as far as what the digits can be. So we're going to have to just consider this individually. Probably should consider this one first. 1 doubling to a 2 is acceptable in this spot. 2 doubling to a 4 is acceptable. 2 halving to a 1 is acceptable. 6 halving to a 3 is not acceptable, which eliminates 6 from being a possibility here. Yeah. 4 doubling to an 8 is acceptable. 6 halving to a 3 should be acceptable. Don't want to miss that one. 5 wouldn't work. 7 wouldn't work. And 9 wouldn't work. And then the possibilities here could be 1 could double to a 2. 4 could double to an 8. 2 could double to a 4. Or half to a 1. And 3 could double to a 6. Yeah. I do believe that should be everything as a possibility there. And then basically any digit here seems like it could be any digit at all. Except for it can't be 3 and it can't be 7. Which maybe there's some information that we could take from that. That if there's 2 that have to add up to 10, and that there's 2 that have to add up to 10 here, does that eliminate some possibilities? I don't think it does, because there's basically 4 combinations that you can have. You can have 1 and 9 as one combination, 2 and 8 as the second one, 3 and 7 as a third one, and 4 and 6 as a fourth one. So if you were going to have it eliminate anything, it would just fill in a 5 as an outie, and you would have to have 4 X's somewhere in the column, and I'm not sure you really could pull that off. It would have to be 4 separate pairs, which would need probably some spacers in between it. Like if there was an X here for these 2 digits, and then there was a digit here and an X here for those 2 digits, and then there was a blank spot, and then there was an X here for 2 digits, and then there was an X here for 2 digits. Yeah. That would be an interesting, very easy way to figure out that the 5 was in the middle. And so I guess we'll put the same information down here. I think again it just can't be 3 and 7, but every other option does seem like it's on the table, which probably means I'm in the wrong path. If we could figure out specifically what these numbers were, that might be helpful. I mean, we know it's one of these digits, like that. You could continue down the path to fill in possibilities. It's not 4, 5, not 6, not 7, 8, 9. And this is probably all the information we are going to find for a while about this information, about these spots. But also filling these in is just going to fill in the entire board and tempt me towards trying to do basic Sudoku, when I suspect basic Sudoku here is not actually going to work. Let's just consider this. This can be 1 or 2. I guess it could be 3, but it can't be 3, which means this one can't be 6. Which means this one can't be 4. 4 can half or double to 8. 5 won't work. 6 could go to 3. And then 7 won't work. 8 could double, could half to 4. But then we already, I guess that is still a possibility. It's just not 6 and 4. Only 4 and 6 still works. Okay. Let's figure out what possibilities are here. 1 and 2, 6, 2, 4. This 6 can't half to 3 because there's a 3 already here. So this can't be 6. 7 wouldn't work. 8 would work. Let's see. 1 could double to 2. 2 could half to 1. 4. Is 4 a possibility? Really? Yeah, I guess 2 could double to 4. And then 3 could double to 6. Really should just be the same range as this. Anyways, 4 could double to 8. Yeah, all of these are in the same range. But that doesn't inherently prove in any way that they're all the same number. If anything, don't we actually have a case where very possibly this and this are the same number, and this and this are the same number? Possibly. But I might be somewhat flawed in it, because it might be more of a case that this digit and this digit might be the same number. But that would only be if this was 1-4 and this is 1-4. So we actually don't know any of that to be true yet. But that does seem like that might be what happens here. Is that you're going to potentially have a pair. It's probably best to just mark those pairs. We should have another pair somewhere. There. Mark and color those. Because once we figure out what those are, they will be a pair, and they will eliminate a lot of possibilities in columns. Yeah. And this can't be 1, can't be 3, but otherwise can be every other digit. And if it can't be 1 and 3, then I guess there's no way to get to a 2. 2 would either be 1 or 3 this way. So that's not 2, which means that's not 8. Okay. And what else are we capable of filling in here? Guess we will just fill in every possibility except for 3 and 7, which we already know aren't in that column anymore. Then we put in every possibility except for 3 and 1 in these columns. I guess we're just filling in everything now. If this is 1 through 9, then this is 1 through 9. This should be same outcome of 1, 2, 4, 6, and 8, but I need to reconsider that because there might have been a 7 that was being eliminated as a possibility here, and that wouldn't be eliminated here. If this was 1, this could be 2. If it was 2, it could be 1 or 3. We're eliminating a 3 here. Maybe a 3 could be over here, though. So let's add that. Probably shouldn't hurt me too badly if that was not correct. If this was a 4, it could be a 3, but it can't. Or a 5. Can it be a 5? Yeah. It does seem like it could be a 5. It seems like it could be a 5 here. On this dot. Oh no, these are all doubling. So this is all different. This looks like it would be in this same grouping, but it actually isn't. It's its own thing to consider. So yes, it can be a 5, it can be a 2, can be a 3, can be a 4, can't be a 3 because of that still, could be a 5, can it be a 6? No, we cannot. Can it be an 8? No, it cannot. So yeah, very different digits in that case. Alright. Then this spot and this spot is, I think, just everything except for a 3. That's all we can put in those spots. And this spot and this spot is everything except for a 3 and a 7. And then if this is every digit, then this should be every digit except for 7. And a 7 missing here doesn't mean anything, because you can reach other digits that way. This spot and this spot then I think are still every single digit except for a 7. And this digits would be everything except for a 7 because there's a 7 in this box. This would be everything except for 3 because there's a 3 in this box. And this would be everything except for a 1 because there's a 1 in that box. So I filled in everything, but unlike the previous puzzle, I feel like at 21 minutes now I've kind of hit a speed bump. I'm definitely going to have to change tactics somewhat to try and figure out what next to do. It does feel like something has to be determined, some new number to start to collapse this puzzle. Let's see. 1 eliminates this from being a 1-4, doesn't it? Okay. That's easy to see. So 2-3 is the only possibility for that spot, which then tells me I can just add and remove 2s and add and remove 3s. So 2-3 is no longer a possibility. From that, then we know this digit can be only 1 or 2 or 3. It cannot be, wait, no, this is a black dot. It can be 1 that's half to a 2 can be half to 1, 2 can be doubled to 4. 3 can't be halved, so it has to go to 6. And so 8 shouldn't be a possibility. 3 shouldn't be a possibility. 2 shouldn't be a possibility. It's either going to be 1, 4, or 6. That gets us into a much better position. Now, same logic can now be applied over here, that this 2-3 pair can't be in this box. So this has to be a 1-4, which 1 can be doubled to 2, but we shouldn't have a 1 anymore. Or 4 can be half to 2, or 4 can be doubled to 8, but a 4 and a 6 should be out of the possibility. We can take that further, and we can add all these digits, add and remove 4s and 1s from the possibilities. And there is probably something more that can be done here, in that these can't have 9 in them. It can only be 2-8 or 3-7, and it can't be 6s. Okay. which, if we could eliminate a few more numbers, we'd have like a quad or a triplicate in this whole setup. 7 doesn't eliminate, though, 2, 3, or 1, 4. 6 here. Do we have 6 marked anywhere else? Yeah, here and here. The 6 shouldn't be in this box in the first place, which means that 4 should not be in any of those boxes either. And I'll just have to reevaluate to make sure everything is possible here. No, 1s, the 1-4 pairs here actually should eliminate all of that. Because yeah, we can't have a 1 or a 4 in here, so 2, so this isn't 9, 2 and 8 can equal 10, 3 and 7 can equal 10, or 8 and 2 can equal 10, and then 8 here can't be a 4, and the 8 here can't be a 4, which eliminate the possibility of 8 being there, and 2 can't be here either, so if I'm correct here, this has to be 6. And then this has to be 3. Then this has to be 7. And with that level of progress, we now have decent amount of progress to set us up to start solving this puzzle completely, even though there is a lot of places where just almost every digit is still marked. We now know, since this is a 3, nothing, because this could still be a 2 and this still could be a 3, so let's not jump the gun there. A 1-9 works here, a 2-8 works here, and a 1-9 works here, which we can highlight that, I guess, by doing that and better label things now. And then 3s being eliminated here and 7s being eliminated here. I don't think completely change everything. Yeah, I don't think it changes anything because the 3 was already in this box. Let's go ahead and highlight this one correctly too. We'll highlight it and then we'll put a 2-8 up that way. This here should have the 2s and the 3s removed from it, which then, now that we know this is a 2-3, that means 1 cannot be doubled to a 2, so we know that this is a 4-8 pair, and since we know that a 2 can't be here, we kind of know that this has to be a 4 and this has to be a 6, so we didn't even have to color that pair because it solved itself very quickly. And assuming the rest of my pencil markings were correct, that makes that 1, which makes that 2, which makes that 3. So if this is either a 2 or an 8 or a 7 and a 3, we can remove the 7 marking here, and we can remove the 8 marking there. Is there now some possibilities of digits being removed here? Like, could a 5 reach a 6 or 4? No. So these two can't be 5. Can a 2 reach a 1 or 1 reach a 2? Yes. Can a 7 reach an 8? Yes. Can an 8 reach a 9? Yes. Can a 9 reach an 8? Yes. So some possibilities still available. And this could be a 1 adding to a 4, or this can be a 2 adding to a 3. And there's no overlap in these combos, unfortunately. If there was, that might be helpful. We eliminated all the 3s from here. We eliminated all the 3s, 7s, and 6s from here. We eliminated all the 7s from here. Do we have any 1s or 8s in this box that need to be eliminated? Or any 6 3s or 7s in this box? No. Can't probably do anything with this. Do we have any 3s in this box? Yes, we do. We have 2 3s marked here. A couple of 3s might be a better way to say that. Which then, I guess, eliminates the 7s. And I guess we should probably evaluate whether that really changes anything here. I don't think it really does. We have a 5-8-9 combo triple here. If this is accurate, then this would be the only place where a 6 can be, which it does seem like that's the only place where a 6 can be anyways. And then 5-8-9 would eliminate the 8, which would mean this has to be a 3 and this has to be a 7. Okay. 5, 8, 9 aren't all in the same column here or the same row, so I don't think that's gonna help us too much. We can remove, weirdly, the 5, 8, 9 from that combination. We now know that this is either 2 or 4. Which arguably maybe I should just decolorize these spots, but I kind of want to keep them. I don't know if there's a logical reason to keep them though. If we get rid of 7s up here, that would have just eliminated 3s down here anyways. So 7 and 3 not really helping any of this. Other than perhaps there must be a 7 in this spot. But is that even really true? Yeah, there shouldn't be any 7s here. Which means that shouldn't be a 7. And that shouldn't be a 7. Which should highlight one of those should be a 7. That helps a little. I don't know if it helps a great deal. So let's just go back to some basic brute force Sudoku and see what we can determine. One of these should be a 2. One of these, one of these needs to be a 3. And one of these needs to be a 3. And then we'll look at the 4s, and I think this is the first time we've looked at 4s. So if this determines something, I don't think it quite does though. It may very well be that the rest of these digits need a little bit more help before they could start proving anything outright. Can this possibly be a 5? If the options are 1 and 9 and 2 and 8, no. So let's mark all the true possibilities here. If this is a 1, it could be a 2. If this is a 2, it could be a 1. At no point can this really be a 4 now, nor can it be a 5. If it was a 9, it could be an 8, but it can't be an 8, which also means this is not a 9. So let's just eliminate that as a possibility. If it's an 8, it could be a 9. So it's 1, 2, 9 as far as possibilities go, and then this would be a 1, and then this would be a 9, so we can eliminate that as a possibility. That was looking at 5s. Then that one has to be a 5. One of those 3 have to be a 5, which can eliminate 5 from being there. And don't think we can do anything else with 5s. Let's look at 6s. Well, one of these 2 spots have to be a 6. Which maybe we could take some logic here and say if this is 6, this can't be 3, so then this would have to be 3. But then it could also be that this is 6 and this is 3, so it probably doesn't tell me enough. 7s. One of these 2 have to be a 7. This can't be a 7. And then one of these 2 have to be a 7. Eights. And then 9s. Yeah, and it definitely seems like 9s will be just the absolute last thing that we deal with. Definitely feels like there's just a lot of possibilities here. a lot of possibilities that are going to have to evaluate. I think it's just going to make me reevaluate every single domino spot. There is something here in this spot, in that if this was 1 and it doubled to 2, then this would have to be 4. If this was 3 and it went to 4 though, then this could be 8. So until we eliminate one more possibility, these two don't fully influence each other. We can't guarantee for certain that a 2 is in one of these two spots. Once we could guarantee that for certain, that might mean something. Alright. So let's just evaluate every pairing now, and I probably should go ahead and just decolorize these two. Because, yeah, I don't think they matter anymore. A 1 and 9 works. A 2 and 8 works. A 4 and 6 works. A 6 and 4 works. An 8 and 2 no longer works. So, these two don't have 8 in them. And a 9 and 1 works. Okay. Is there any difference between these two? Not really, although we do know that there's only 3 possible combinations, so, and they can't be the same combination, but they could be the same combination in a different order. This could be 1 and 2, and then this could be 2 and 1. Well, not really. Actually, 2s are here. So, no, it wouldn't be 1 and 2 in the first place. This could be 1 and 9, and this could be 9 and 1. Would be the right way to say that. 1 and 4 are the only options there. Let's see, 4, 1 away could be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. With 4, 1 away, working. 6 could go to 5 still. So I don't think there's anything new there. The possibilities maybe have changed here. 1 can go to 2, 3 can go to 4. 4 can't go to anything, so I think 4 is out. 4 could go to 5, 6 could go to 5, but we don't have a 7 or 5, so we can't get to 6. 6 can go to 5, 6 can't go to 7. 9 can go to 8, and 8 can go to 9. 1 doubled is 2, 4 doubled is 8. 3, 1 away from 2 and 4. 1 doubled can go to 2. 2 halved can go to 1. 2 can go to 4. 6 halved can go to 3. 4 doubled can go to 8. 8 halved can go to 4. And then let's double check that everything pairs to 10 in this pair. 1 plus 9 is 10. 2 plus 8 is 10. 3 plus 7 is 10. 4 plus 6 is 10. And 8 plus 2 is 10. This combination should change drastically. If we can't have a 1 here, which we've determined the 1 has to be down here, then this is not 9, which means this is 7. Let's check if that's correct. which means that it's 3, which means then this pretty much has to be 6. Okay. And then 1 doubles to 2. 1 and 9 still work. 2 and 8 still work. But 4 is removed from a possibility for 4 and 6. Okay. 4 then can't double to 8 to be in this spot. And 2 can still double to be 4. But can anything get to 2? Well, 1 can double to 2. Or 2 can half to 1. Okay. So we're limiting the possibilities now. If this was 2, this could be 1. If this was 1, this could be 2. But there is no possibility anymore for 4 or 5 in that spot. If this is 1, then this could be 2. If this is 2, it could be 1, but not 3, because there's already 3. And then if this is 8, it could be 9. So that possibility is still valid. This could be a 6. Or this could be a 6. This could be a 3, or this could be a 3. Every digit, 1 can be 2, 2 can be 3, 5 can be 4, 6 could be 5, 8 could be 9, 9 could be 8. I assume just nothing's changed on that one. And then we might have a situation if we could eliminate the 8s. But if we eliminated the 8s, then we would know this is a 1-9 pair. So if we figured that out, then yeah, this would work with that to eliminate possibilities over here. This can be 1 and 2, this can be 2 and 1, this could be 7 and 8, this could be 8 and 9, this could be 9 and 8. So we've looked at everything, and because we have this plus sign, we have a quad here. What we need to do is break these 4 digits from a quad into two pairs, and then that would be very helpful. The question is, how can we do that? It will, I assume, naturally happen eventually, but at the moment I'm not seeing an obvious solution. So we'll just do some basic brute force Sudoku and see if anything is standing out now. We know those two. One of those have to be a 3. Fives, still quite a mess. No. This one and this one has to be a 6. And at some point we eliminated all the possibilities of a 7 down to just this way. I can see this eliminates those 3, this eliminates those 3, and this would then eliminate this one, and this one, and this one, which those 2 had already been eliminated. And then I guess the mathematics here eliminated the possibility of a 7 here. Let's check to see if we did everything right by marking that as a 7. Okay, then that means this has to be a 7 if we've done everything right. Yeah. Does that significantly change anything else? Maybe not. Let's just continue through the brute force Sudoku elimination process. Yeah, everything would scream that there should be some revelation as far as to where the last couple of 7s would be. Then we would just be done with the 7s, but we're not. And the 3 and 7 pair here, adding up to 10, just means 3 and 7 aren't in those 2 spots. Which actually, it would have been better if it was like 3 and 6, because then that would have eliminated 3s and 7s and 6s and 4s and brought us down to 2 possible combinations of 1 and 9s and 2 and 8s, with the 2 having to be up here. If this was 2, this would be 1. If this was 1, this would be 2. So there is kind of a hidden 1-2 pair between these two as possibilities. So then that can't be 1 or 2. So if that's correct, then that's an 8. 8 can only be divided to 4 and added to 10 complement. A 10 complement of 8 would be 2, which then makes this a 159 triple. That also made the 4, bringing this down to just being a 1, I guess. No, this 2 brought this down to being a 1, which then makes this have to be a 2, which makes this have to be a 3. Okay. And that should have done some more stuff. We have a 5, 8, 9 triple here, which 5 still could be 6, 9 really couldn't be anything. So doesn't this have to be a 5? Which then makes this not 9, either 4 or 6. Which then means this is not 9. Which doesn't that mean this has to be 9? Just because there needs to be a 9 in this column. Okay. And then that, I guess, means that has to be a 9. Which means that has to be a 6. Which means that has to be a 3. And so we've just finished an entire box now. 54 minutes into this puzzle, and we've consistently been making progress. Again, this is the kind of experience I would have hoped to have had with almost all of the Sudoku puzzles. Unfortunately, that's very much not the case as to how it played out. We just have column after column filling in itself, and then we're going to have a whole nother box done. If this is 8, this has to be 4, and this has to be 1, and then this has to be 5. That brings us down to an 8, 9. If this is 5, this has to be 6, which means this has to be 4. That means that is 8, and that is 9, and that is 1, and that is 5, That is 2, and that's a whole nother box filled in. That makes that 8. And that 9, that's another whole box in. 4, 5, 6. We may not be able to determine the 7 and 8 here yet, but it doesn't really matter because there's just more progress that can be made by filling in by deduction every single possibility. Now, arguably, when you get this kind of flow going, should there be an option to just put it into autopilot mode and let the game solve it for you? Since you've already done the setup work, you've done the logic at this point. You don't need a human brain to say, if there is only one possible solution, that must be the solution. That is very basic programming that you could do. So why not visually do a little effect, a little firework effect, where a firework explodes and then that firework lands on another spot that has only one possibility, and so then it lands on that and it explodes and shoots another little firework here to the next thing, and then that one explodes, and you could just have some really exciting visual feedback for what is a slow and kind of dull puzzle game otherwise. And you could turn off the animations and just have it move very fast to reveal that everything is set up. Now, I wouldn't program it personally so that as soon as something got down to only one possibility, it just automatically in one frame set the numbers in, because you want to see, you want to give the brain a little bit of time to comprehend that that specific number in that specific place is locked in. So 2 here can't be the possibility anymore. We can also just decolor these since these all have been locked in. Anyways, yeah, this can't be 2 because it has to be 1 away from that. So then this has to be 8, which then makes that 2, which then makes that 9, which then makes that 2. We have 6 out of 9 digits locked in, making that a 7. We finish that box, and we finish that box, make that an 8. And honestly, I think we are done at 58 minutes, just slightly below an hour. No real struggle there at all. Yeah, and no real complaints there either. It definitely felt like that was just an hour of consistent progress being made. In fairness, maybe this is a puzzle that would have taken other people 30 minutes. I wouldn't really think, though, it would take people 6 minutes to solve this puzzle. This seemed a little bit challenging. There was 2 or 3 different ways you had to attack the problem to get to it. I think what makes puzzles possibly easier is when there is a good level of hints to just set up a puzzle and make sure you can enter every possible combination into the field, every single one of the 81 cells by some hint, and that you aren't just having large amounts of cells that are just going to have to be labeled as 1 through 9 because there's no hint directly referencing it. The layers upon layers of complexity or recursion to solve a specific cell probably shouldn't be that high for an easy puzzle. Let's look at the hints. Smart Ant obviously would just tell me what to do last. The handwritten hints say in box 2 and 3. No, just in box 2. 3s must go on the X domino. It cannot go on the V domino as it would need a 2, and the 2 is already elsewhere in the box. So they're approaching it from a very different direction, where they're just saying that because there is a 2 here, this can't be 2, 3, and because of that, somehow 3 has to be here. I don't follow that logic at all. I don't see a reason why you couldn't have thought that a 3 could have been somewhere else. I guess maybe it's because there's a starting 3 digit here and a starting 3 digit here, which then eliminates the possibility of a 3 being here and a 3 being here. Which then, at that point, if you notice that, then you should have known that a 3 could only be here and here, and then 3 couldn't have been here. But I definitely did not fill in this box early as this hint would indicate you should have. This means 3, 7 and box 8 are in column 4, as one of them must be on the X. Domino in row 7, in row 8 of column 4. What? They must both be on this domino. I think that's kind of a very poorly phrased. I think what they're saying is that if a 3 must be here and a 7 must be here, you couldn't split it and have a 3 here and a 7 here. But that doesn't really make any sense. 3, 7 must be on the X domino in row 7 and row 8, column 4. They must be on this domino. 3 must go in row 7, column 4. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Am I not? That the 3, 7 in box at 8 is in column 4, which is they're just talking about a completely different box. But the first sentence here says in box 2, the X must go, the 3 must go on the X. We got that. As this would need a 2 and 2 is already here to put a 3 there. And then it stops talking about that at the period, and it should just be a double space new line here. This means the 3, 7 in box 8 in this box in general are on column 4. Because there's a 3, 7 in the middle here, which this is not how I solved the puzzle at all. As one of those two numbers, 3 or 7, have to be on the X, the other number has to be on the X. So it must be 3, 7 or 7, 3. 3 must go on in row 7, column 4, as 7 cannot go next to the black dot. Yeah, and I didn't even solve any of that based on that logic, and that is a long hint. It probably should have been split into 2. When at this point where it goes, this means the 3, 7 in box 8. Like, why not simply make that hint number 2? Whereas hint number 2, now 7 in box 4. Okay, they're talking about the 7 in box 4, which seems like a crazy one to talk about. Must be in row 5, column 6, or column 3. Which, this is yet another typo. What they're meaning to say here is row 5 or row 6. column 3. It makes no sense to say row 5, column 6 and 3. And you know it's a typo because it's backwards. It would have said column 3/6 if that's what they meant, or column 6. Yeah. This would be column 6. This would be column 3. So you have yet another typo. A combination of Sudoku and the fact that the 7 cannot be on a black dot is, I guess, the explanation as why 7 must be here. 7, I guess, just can't be here, and Sudoku stops 7s from being here, and maybe Sudoku here would have been solved enough to stop 7s from... 7 can't be here either. And then the hint is jumping in. This places the 7 in box 1, where it cannot go in row 2 or row 3, column 2. 7s can't be here, they're saying. Which I'm not 100% sure why that would have been the case at that point, as it would need a 3, and 3 is already placed. Oh yeah, there's a 3 here, so this can't be 7. Place 7 then in row 1, column 2. Again, another typo though. Now the 7 in box 3 is either in column 7 or column 9, and notice that hint number 3 is telling me to put a 7 here, and this is absolutely the last thing I'm doing for this puzzle, which does definitely highlight that there are multiple ways to solve a Sudoku puzzle. This is the same situation for 7 in the box 9, which is here or here. So where does the 7 in column 8 go? It must be row 5, column 7. No? The game itself tells me that this hint is wrong. Where does the 7 in column 8, this is column 8, go? It must go into row 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Column 7, which would be here. Yeah. Frankly, there's so many mistakes that are happening here. Obviously, nobody's checking the hints at all. Like, either that or the person who is checking the hints, double checking the hints, is incompetent. And I hate to throw out the baseless accusation, but I kind of think that half of these hints are being written when somebody is drunk or half asleep after they've solved the Sudoku puzzle, which might also speak to Sudoku puzzles just taking too long in general. When you watch the Cracking the Cryptic live streams, it does definitely feel like they are not fully mentally alert by the time they are done with the puzzles, that the Sudoku puzzles are just so mentally draining. And I imagine that probably is the time in which the Cracking the Cryptic YouTuber people might be writing the hints, or maybe they're coming back to the puzzles and watching their footage and then transcribing it. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they are straight up just taking the awful Google YouTube translation transcripts that YouTube make that are very inaccurate, and using that as the hints, which would just be downright lazy to do it that way. But again, this says that the 7 in column 8 must go in row 5, column 7. Even its 2 sentences combined don't make any sense. Hint 4 says the V domino at row 2 in 3, column 8. This one is 2, 3, so that the black dot in row 6 and 7 of column 8 must be a 4, 8. This places 6 in row 5, column 9, which makes row 4, column 8. Row 4, column 8, 1 or 4. And this can only go with 2 in row 3, column 8. Okay, we probably did solve it that way. Row 7, column 2. Here can only be a 1, 2 now, and this makes row 6, column 2 also 1, 2. It cannot be 3 due to the given 3 in row 6. So row 5, column 2 is a naked single that can only be 8. Suppose it is an interesting thing for me to consider as far as whether these hints should have been evaluated as part of the game. If it were a different type of video game, I really wouldn't spend the extra energy looking at hints and seeing the quality on them. Maybe I should do that in more games, but also a lot of times in games the hints are just kind of there and only available to you when you need them. Then you can't go back and check them after the fact. In this case, it definitely was the wiser choice to evaluate and look at the hints, but had I solved all the Sudoku puzzles available to me and never used a hint at all, or only leaned on the smart hint system, which seems to be pretty well programmed so it doesn't make these kinds of human mistakes and typos, I definitely would not have noticed all the mistakes that are being put in the handwritten hints. And they must, at some level, they at least need to recognize that the fact that they are referring to the hints as handwritten hints is admitting that they are written by a human and very possibly not accurate. Let's continue. So then row 7, column 2, here, can only be a 1, 2 now, and this makes row 6, column 2, also 1, 2, which makes row 5, column 2, a naked single that can only be 8. We did that. And then there's a 2, 4 pair in box 5. Should have been this and this. In row 4 and row 6 of column 6. Yeah, not the 5, but the 2 and the 4 in the middle on the edges. And the X domino in row 7 and 8 of column 6, which makes 5 impossible. If this is 2 and 4, this is 1 and 9, and we'd assume that everything else here had already been filled in. That means that's a 5. And then our final hint says box 1 has a 3 in row 1, column 1, and a 2 in row 2, column 1 now. Actually, I don't feel like I filled in that 2 until almost the very last step. So the 2 X dominoes must be 4 and 6 and 1 and 9. I feel like I figured that out by eliminating some other numbers over here. Which finishes the puzzle swiftly. Swiftly being a relative term and very much reliant on just how fast the player plays. But okay, I won't harp on terminology choices when there's so many factual errors being made. Yeah. And we really finished this puzzle in about 60 minutes. So I'm adding like 15 minutes just talking about and looking at the hints, which maybe you could say that might be the case for all of the puzzles, but I wouldn't try and cheat there and in my mind think I need to subtract 15 minutes that maybe was spent on puzzle hints, but maybe it wasn't from the times. Excuse me. Alright, one more episode. There's almost no way we'd go any longer. That's going to be it for this recording. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.